What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Road to Optimal Self podcast. I'm Jay. I am joined today by Celina Arter.
Yep.
What's up, Celina? How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It is a beautiful Friday here in Ohio, and you just crushed a workout.
I did.
Was it everything you hoped for?
It was pretty intense, actually.
Pretty intense. Which part was harder? So it was a flashback, and I think I fucked up. I'm going to have to text Kim Williams, who ran the snowball games. I thought it was 7 minutes, but everybody said it was 6 minutes. But this was a flashback to one of the competition workouts we did right before the pandemic, February 1st, 2020. And I know the date because it would have been Joe's birthday. That's why we picked the competition. But I found during that competition, I don't remember, it's my left wrist. I had sprained my left wrist. So for me, the rowing was way worse because I could not do the barbell stuff.
Yeah.
Because every time I did a hang clean, it was like someone had jabbed my wrist. So I did very, very little barbell work for that. But I found the rowing to be worse. What did you find to be worse today?
Actually, I found the hang power clean and the shoulder to overhead was probably the worst part. The deadlifting wasn't bad because it was only 65.
Yeah.
But it was 8 hang power cleans, but yeah, that was harder for me, I think.
Yeah.
But I've been working on the rowing technique, so that's what I was focused on.
Yeah, I gotcha. And part of doing stuff like what we did today, especially with you, and we'll get into that, is we're trying to push you a little outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But let's flashback before we get too far into this. You joined during, was it the Eyes Forward Challenge?
Yes.
I used to name all of my challenges, and it was very annoying because I couldn't remember any of them. But I believe it was Eyes Forward just because you got the shirt.
Yep.
And the only reason I remember that is you came in with your niece, and
Yes.
I would not let you guys get the BMF shirt.
Yeah. And I didn't even know what it meant.
Nobody knows what it meant. But I just remember having that conversation with you. So that one's stuck in my head. But what made you reach out to do that challenge? Had you heard about the gym from somebody else? Were you just scrolling through Facebook? Like, walk me through what led you to reach out.
Okay, so I did hear about the gym, and it was when you were on Front Street. This was a long time ago. I was taking my son to baseball, and I had seen a bunch of people outside on Front Street working out, and I remember thinking, like, I should be doing that. And that was years ago, you know. Yeah. And then in March, well, I guess it would have been February, I was scrolling through Facebook. I was kind of in a slump, hadn't been to the gym in a while, was really trying to figure it out. And I reached out to you. I seen that you had posted it on like Fremont City News that you were doing a challenge, but I didn't really know a whole lot about the gym. I didn't really even know like the movements or like anything. So I had looked on your page and I kind of like looked through and I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably do this, but I was super nervous about it. So I had talked to my sister and I was telling her it was something that I was really wanting to do, but it was out of my comfort zone, going into a place where I didn't know anybody, and she must have heard the desperation, I guess, in my voice, because she offered up my niece. She was like, well, let me see if Angelina would want to do it with you. And once my niece said yes, then I was like, okay, cool. So I wouldn't come in alone.
What's funny about this now, looking back 6 months after the fact, is how shy you came across that first time and how different, and I don't want to say it drastically changed, just you've become more outgoing, or I think that's more your true personality. You were just so reserved walking in, and I think that happens to a lot of people. I know I talked about this with Chris on episode 1. It's very hard for people to walk into a gym. That is the hardest thing for most people to do, is there's just so much intimidation with what's going to happen when I get in there. And you don't realize it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You're going to get, I'm probably a little different personality than most people are used to, but for the most part, the gym side of things are not really much different than you would expect.
No, and I think that when I came in, everybody was so welcoming. And that was like everything because I am a little bit introverted, you know, being out of my comfort zone, you know. So coming in here, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody, but everybody introduced themselves. Everybody was helpful. You were like teasing a little bit, but it kind of lightened it up, you know. So it was a good experience, and that's why I continued to come.
I always struggle with this balance of showing my true personality and maybe being a little too reserved, because I can be overbearing to a lot of people. But I think with the first form stuff, that's helped out because I post a lot more of my real self on social media now, so nobody's walking in and going, what's this guy about? Because they'll see some of that in our videos or whatever. They'll kind of see who I actually am. But I remember we were talking about this earlier, so I'm going to revisit it now that we're recording. But our first conversation wasn't actually about fitness; it was about nutrition, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were just asking me, like, you know, had I worked out, what was I doing, you know, eating habits, what my goals were, things like that, and so I just went over that with you.
And you ate like a child, right? It's basically.
I did.
What was your lunch every day again? What was it?
It was cereal.
Cereal.
And I miss it.
I was sharing with you recipes on how you could eat cereal again.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that was the weirdest thing. A lot of people ask, now that I'm past 75 hard, what was the hardest thing? And I would have swore going in, pizza would have been what I missed the most. But I seriously crave cereal more than anything. Like, my kids would get out Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or they'd get out Lucky Charms, or whatever. And that's why I got the flavors of Formula One that I did, because I'd be like, I want all the Lucky Charms right now, and I can't have them.
Yeah.
So it got real frustrating. Having to avoid dairy and see everybody eat cereal, I was like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So, but with my stomach, I think that's how I'm going to start eating cereal, is just mixing Formula One, and then, because that's my workaround. So I'm kind of excited now to have the possibility of adding cereal back.
That's cool.
Because I think cereal it's like a comfort food, you know what I mean? Like, every time I eat cereal, I flash back to like my 8-year-old self watching Saturday morning cartoons in front of the TV, just eating the fuck out of cereal.
Yeah, I think for me it was just like, it was quick.
Yeah.
So when I go home for an hour, you know, I'm trying to let the dogs out, do other things, and it was just like quick for me. But now I'm more prepared because I got that under control. So.
You got that under control. You didn't work out that first day, if I remember, did you? You
No.
just came in for a meeting.
I just came in for the meeting because it was a Saturday morning, and my youngest son had a basketball game.
That's right.
So.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And didn't he break his foot or something right off the bat? Or
right after that, yeah, he fractured his growth plate.
Because I was going to say, I remember the first time I met him, he had a boot on.
Yeah.
But good kid, by the way.
Thank you.
Your husband, by the way, way cooler than you. I don't think he's ever going to come around again because Travis, if you're listening, and I hope you are, I called him sexy in a Browns jersey. So now I think he's a little like.
No, I think
he's like, I got to keep 6 feet
it.
difference from him. That way he doesn't hit on me anymore. But hey, if you look good in a Browns jersey, I'm going to say it.
He loves it. So
good guy.
Thank you.
Love talking to him. But so when was the first time you came back for a workout?
It was that Monday.
It was that Monday.
So I believe it was March 1st. Like, it was the first Monday of March.
That's right, because I ran the challenge March and April, and I did the meeting, would have been 27th, 26th, whatever, of February. So Debbie was probably your coach then, because I don't typically coach Mondays or Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And me and her are much different individuals, so you're like, oh, this is different. And she probably apologized for me or some shit. And I was actually on my best behavior.
You were. And it's funny because then once I got to know you, I was like, wait a second.
Well, at that time,
I'm just kidding.
I had been, and I don't know that it was best advice, but I had some advice from people that said, you know, maybe if you want to get more members in here, maybe tone down yourself and not offend people right off the bat. And I'm like, my first response was go fuck yourself. And then, but that conversation had just happened right before, and I was like, but to be honest with you, for the first time in my life, I had text Debbie. I was shocked you joined because I'm like, I've never bombed a first meeting that bad in my life. I'm like, I mean, I've had people walk in and go, "You're offensive. Fuck you. I'm leaving." And I'm like, I get it. But to act so reserved and like proper, I was like getting all itchy, and I'm like, I'm gonna bomb this shit. There's no way they fucking sign up for this shit. And then when you signed up, I was like, okay, thank God. But I promised myself from that point forward, fuck it, I'm gonna be myself.
Yeah,
because,
I think you should always.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, if you can't handle my personality, you're gonna hate the fucking gym anyway. And I'd
Right.
rather you not spend the money with me than spend it and then call me an asshole after the fact for pretending to be someone I'm not. But
Well, real people will appreciate your
yes,
realness.
yes.
So
But anyway, so you came in and you and Angelina were, I pretty much, I don't know why, we clicked right off the bat. Like I really started fucking with Angelina a lot, and I would always have smart ass comments for you guys. But
and she's like got that witty like personality, so
yes,
she gives
yeah,
it right back.
yes.
Yeah.
She flipped me off at the competition. First time she saw me in like fucking 2-3 months.
Because she missed you.
Yeah. I took it as a compliment though. Like most people be like, "Who's that girl flipping you off?" I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Hey, fuck you too." But some people see our interactions here and they think it's a little awkward. But I wouldn't have it any other way. That's
Yeah.
to me. I was talking to some of my First Form people. The amount of people that have like, the day I said I was with First Form, everyone's like, "Yes," and I'm like, "What do you mean yes?" And everybody just went, "If you're with them, we're with them." And I feel like being real creates more of that loyalty because they're not. There's shit I do, and I wish I didn't do it, but it's who the fuck I am, and I talk about it all the time. Like Morgan getting off the fucking rower and quitting a workout mid-workout because I was so pumped that she almost hit a muscle up. Like that's not a normal reaction, and to fake that would come off so not genuine. But when I do it, people are like, "Oh my God, that's real." Even though to the, you know, if you don't know me, you'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?" But I just
Right.
have this body language, I guess, about me that says, "Hey, this is who I really am." But anyway, so you start, and you pretty much got strong right off the bat. I do remember that. Your squat was really strong. I remember the first day we were cleans. Did you fall on your ass, or was that Angelina?
That was Angelina, and it was snatches.
Oh, that's right.
It was snatches. And I had been doing a different workout because it was like the day before there was a workout, and somebody's like, "Do you want to do this workout with me?" And I'm like, "Okay." So Angelina was doing the snatches, and I just remember looking over, and I was like doing like burpee, like something, and I looked over, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she
She
just
was-
fell
yeah, she
over." I'm trying not to react, you know.
Yeah. It's always difficult when you're learning an Olympic lift because those are highly technical lifts, and there's a lot that can go wrong. But I remember that day, now that you said it was snatch, Angelina tried the same weight like 4 times, and when she hit it, that was like one of those moments where everybody was all pumped for her, and her face was like, "Yeah, I did."
I think I had it on video, and I remember like we slowed it down, and you could see her face when she was able to get it up.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like cheering for her.
yeah.
Yeah, the support is so real here; it's crazy.
Yeah, I had a member that just had her second kid come back last Saturday, and she talked about it being like the old days where everybody came up to her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh," because I don't know that I've talked about this on the podcast so much. I was in a pretty bad spot after the COVID shutdown. Like I got real. I don't know the word for it. I don't know if it's bitter or what it was, but getting called non-essential when I put basically my life's work into this place, go from moving into a brand new building, being busy as hell, running at basically triple what we were at post-pandemic. I got really back into drinking and some bad habits, and I fucked my stomach up really bad. But right before you started, I was actually going to sell the gym. I was done. I was like, fuck it, I'm out. Can't do this anymore. And it fell through. And obviously, I turned it around and we're back to normal. But
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
But people don't realize I'm reading a book right now called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. And it's fucking insane. You really do. You go from highest of highs to lowest of lows. And then I got a day job on top of it.
Yeah.
I got the First Farm stuff on top of that.
You have a family.
I got a family. I literally, usually 5:30 in the morning through 10 o'clock at night, I'm on the go.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got tired. And then when my stomach got all fucked up, even though it's my own doing, I got real just like bitter at everything. Like,
yeah.
I didn't want to deal with people. I didn't want to hide the pain I was in. Because, I mean, I got to a point where I literally, every time I ate, was throwing up. And it's not fun to be in that. Like, you get scared to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I lost 15 pounds. Like, I'm not able to work out the way I want to. And now I'm trying to lead a gym. And I'm a firm believer in you got to lead by example. And now everybody sees what you used to be, and then they see what you are now, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And I'm not telling anybody, but I feel like I'm dying inside. So then I go to the doctor, get all that worked out, and most likely it's from my years of taking pain pills and alcoholism and all the other dumb decisions I made. So it's 100% my fault, but a lot of you guys are the reason I came out of that. You know, you coming in with a good attitude, Angelina coming in with a good attitude, Megan, Colin, and then you mix that with some of our older people, and it kind of just drug me out of this darkness that I didn't want to be in anymore, and it's pretty cool. And that's leading into the next question, which is, when did you get kind of interested in competing? Because the first one we did, you were so super, super new. Because then we do it in, I want to say it was April.
Yeah, so I started in March, and you guys had been preparing for it. And I had worked out previously, but nothing like this, nothing like these types of workouts. You know, it was at my own pace. You know, I did like some weights, but nothing heavy. Every time anything got hard, I would slow down. So this has been challenging for me. Yeah. So, but when I started, you guys had been preparing for that competition, and I would watch and looking at everybody. I was just thinking to myself, like, I could never do that. Like, that's what I thought. And in my head, I was like, you know, I just want to get stronger, but I probably would never compete. And I even said it to my husband, you know, because I said, you know, they're getting ready for a competition. I probably would never do one, you know. So that's what I thought. And then Ashley and Carrie had mentioned it to me, and she was like, you would be really good partners with Ashley. And at that point, I had been really pushing myself, like seeing what I was able to do, because before I couldn't even get the motions of like a clean and jerk. But then I was getting the motions, and then
we took sorry to interrupt, but
that's okay.
We took a little bit of time there, and I don't remember when it was, but I really started hammering the motions. If you remember, we were doing a front squat program, but it was from the ground, and if you remember, I would make you and Angelina use the technique bar, and we just drilled like portions of the lifts, and I could see your confidence growing. And you want to know when I realized you were going to compete? This is going to be a funny story. Look at your left wrist.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody fucking gets a whoop unless they're really concerned about their performance. Yeah. And you walked in one day, and I'm like, Celina, you got a whoop. And you kind of looked at me like, what the fuck did he just say?
And you know what you said? It's upside down. I had it like back.
Did I really? I was like, oh shit.
I was like, oh.
I don't remember that. I remember telling you had a whoop.
I do, because I was like, oh.
I've had a whoop since 2015.
Yeah.
Like I literally, I've had one forever. But that day I was like, That's a weird shift in her, like, her mental ability right there.
Because I was really starting to try to push myself. Like I said, you know, getting out of my comfort zone is like, I don't usually do it. If it got uncomfortable, I would not want to do it. So, but I could see myself getting stronger, and I was more interested in like doing different movements, like the gymnastics movements, the toes to bar, but I had never tried them, you know, so I found myself just like watching everybody closely because I thought there's no way I can climb that rope. There's no way that I can jump up there and hit that. But then I was like,
real quick pause again.
Okay.
I hate to interrupt, but do you notice what words you're not using?
I'm getting better.
But you know what? That is a true thing. Like, people always go, and I've probably said this ad nauseum on the podcast. You know how many people have gone and they like, you understand there are things you can't do, and I'm like, you don't understand yet.
Right.
Don't fucking tell me I can't do it. They're like, well, you'll never fly a plane. I'm like, you don't fucking know that.
Right.
I don't want to fly a plane, just for the record, but if I decide I'm going to, motherfucker, I will. And it is just a mindset. It's when when you put in your head you can't do something, you won't even try. So that's why I hate those two words, and that's the only rule we have at this place is don't say the C word. Don't say I can't.
And you know how much I said it when
I'm aware.
I remember one time I
don't
had
think
a
I gave you
workout.
burpees for the first like 70 times you said it, because I was like,
you did one time when I first started, and I had just tried to kill. I was dying after a workout, and then I said I couldn't do something, and then you were like, "What did you say?" And then you made me do burpees, and I was so pissed. But no, it's all good.
But at some point, you have to, as a coach, my job is to get the best out of you.
Yeah.
And
I need that. I need to be pushed.
100%. And what a lot of coaches don't realize is you're not always going to be liked as a coach. There are days, Ashley Kramer, I love her to death, but she flips me off, and she's been pissed as hell at me. But once cooler heads prevail, you know, we start texting, and she's like, I'm not really mad. I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't go to bed at night with regrets. And I always talk about that fucker in the mirror you look at right before you go to bed. And I might appear confident. I hate the motherfucker in the mirror 90% of the time. I look at him, I see the old me. And that's why I named this podcast Road to Optimal Self, because I saw a loser and I don't want to be that anymore. And I want to make sure no one held me accountable for a very, very long time. So I want to make sure someone, even if you guys hate me for it, I want to make sure you guys actually want to quit if you're going to quit. Like, I'm not saying, did I ever pressure you to compete? Have I ever pressured you to do anything here? No, but once you say it, you're getting, and I think you've noticed that, you get a little different version of me once you verbalize, hey, I want to compete. Hey, I want to get better at this.
Yeah.
The one day you guys were over here and I'm like, hey, where the fuck are you guys going? We're going to work on toe to bar. We're going to work on this. We're going to work on that, because I don't want you guys to get to a competition and look like the team that was in front of you. I don't know if you guys were watching them, but they basically quit and were just sitting on the rower looking like they were dying. And I'm like, you can't be that team. And I don't know who that team is. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody.
I didn't see him because I was in my own zone.
I get it, but I'm a big believer in your mindset is everything. If I believe I'm the baddest motherfucker in the room, I'm going to perform like a bad motherfucker. Now, I might not be the baddest motherfucker in the room, but if I believe that I'm the weakest in the room, you better bet your ass I'm going to perform like I'm the weakest in the room.
Yeah.
And that's where I can't, doesn't exist come from. It has nothing to do with what you can or cannot do. It has to do with believing in yourself and bringing the best version of yourself to the table.
Yeah.
And I think you'd believe, or you'd even agree, probably since you got that whoop, your progress went from, I'm doing okay, to goddamn, look at this.
Right.
Like, I'm doubling my clean and jerk. I'm doing, you know what I mean?
And I was the type of person, I never wanted a Fitbit. I never wanted anything because it would like hold me accountable. So, and I'm being honest when I say that. So then it was actually Cassandra. The one time I had asked her if you were going to come into the gym, and she said, my recovery is, really low. And I just was curious. And I said, well, how do you know that? And she was the one that had said, well, my whoop. And then, so I was asking questions. And then she was like, she sent me the link to join, And so that's actually how that started.
Good for Cassandra. That's a good coach, right?
Yeah, she is. She's a very good coach.
Really good. I got one. I was in Quincy, Illinois, home of Q-Town CrossFit. Sam Dancer, former CrossFit Games athlete, and I was having a conversation with him. He's one of my favorite athletes at the time. He's still up there, but he's a CrossFit athlete that comes at it differently. He has more my approach, where it's like, yeah, we do all this, but we do all these other things too. And I was asking him, because I was getting ready for the Mayhem competition down. It's a national competition. I'm like, man, how do you know? Feel like the last 2 competitions I've done, I've tapered a little too much. My body likes to be beat up. I have a fuck ton of neck injuries, shoulder injuries. Like, I don't sit still. I hate watching these videos because I'm a fidgety motherfucker. But I was talking about that. He goes, why don't you get a Whoop? I'm like, what the fuck is a Whoop? And at the time, there was no monthly membership. It was $500 to buy one outright. And you got the data. And I'm like, you want me to spend $500? He goes, dude, best thing that might happen to you is you might realize you're better when you do a quasi-hard workout the day before. And you know what I found out? I don't really like rest days that much. I don't really like tapering off that much. So we went down there and fucking destroyed the workout. And I'm like, oh, this thing's genius.
Yeah.
But that's... You have to learn your own body, and everybody's different. So it's very hard, especially as a coach, on your first workout or your first competition. It's very hard to kind of dial in what works best for Celina. I said Cassandra because she's the one that talked you into that. But I know you guys like to go for your 2, 3, 4 mile runs. So as a coach, I can't sit here and be like, hey, you guys got to knock that off. We got to compete on Sunday. I got to sit there and be like, okay, I'm gonna let them roll with it, and how they compete on Sunday, we'll kind of adjust it then.
Yeah, we didn't run too much the week before, but I think that the running actually helps with my breathing.
100%.
And once I did decide that I wanted to compete, look at these crazies. Look at them. I can't.
These, for those of you off camera, Ashley and Carrie are fucking.
You better come say hi
with Celina. But once you decided to compete, what now?
It pushed me to work harder because I didn't want to look crazy.
Is that when you guys added you guys started with just a mile run?
Yes. And it was crazy because when we started our mile runs, I felt like I was dying. I was like, and Carrie was always like the leader of the pack. She was always never tired, Ashley and I were like, just, but we are up to like 3, we ran. What's the most that we ran? 4 miles? Yeah. So we're doing good.
My sister's pretty fit. I hate to admit it, but she likes to push people pretty hard. She's a fucking workhorse, too.
Yes. These women have helped me so much, both of them.
What you don't realize is how many men these women have run off because men walk in and expect to just, poor, pitiful women that need help loading the barbell or whatever, and then you fuckers outlift them, and they're like, I'm quitting. I can't handle, my ego can't handle women outlifting me.
Yeah.
Now, cool story. Ashley just got back from a run. You notice, little plug here, she's going over to get her fucking Formula One in ignition, which is, clutch for recovery.
Yep.
not to dig that in there, but, that's...
That's my go-to.
That's her go-to. Now she's shaking it all up. You would have been in the camera right there, shithead. I keep asking Ashley to come on the podcast, but she keeps telling me no. Because we would break the record for most fucks. But anyway, yeah, you guys started running, and you could tell right off the bat that you were running because your breathing kind of slowed down during a lot of the workouts, and I was always on you on how to breathe anyway. Yeah,
because I really didn't know how. I didn't.
It's weird to say you don't.
I mean, I don't know when to breathe in to breathe out. Yeah. So
it does make a huge difference, and it's you definitely notice you kind of slowed everything down. And I remember one day, and I know it's a joke and I'm laughing about this, but I remember you used to give me so much shit for not working out. You'd be like, Jay, do you even work out? Jay, do you even work out? And I remember we had done a workout next to each other because I think you were the only one that showed up for a class.
Yeah.
So Debbie coached, and I did it was box jumps, goblet squats, and kettlebell swings or something like that.
Yeah.
And you beat me by a couple reps, and I'm sure I'll never live that down. But I
worked hard for that.
I know you did.
I was dying,
and I had in my head that day, I'm like, Saturday, that bitch is in trouble.
And
I'm like, okay. Because you made a comment after you beat me, and I know it was in jest, but this is how competitive I am. You're like, well, if you worked out more, you would have got me. And I was like, because you only got me by 1 rep. And I'm sitting here going, she's right, but bitch is mine on Saturday because it's team day and I control the partners. And I don't even remember what the workout was. I know there was bike in there.
I remember it was walking lunges with dumbbells.
Yeah. It was all just grunt work shit where it was like,
Yeah.
just put your head down. It was no high skill because I wanted to make sure there was no excuse that I could do something and you couldn't. And I just dropped the hammer on your ass for an entire...
Literally. You went so hard on the bike, and I was like, this freaking MFer.
Yeah. And I just remember texting you afterwards and asking what your whoop score was, and sending you mine was like sub 8. So it was like I didn't even work that hard, and yours was like 14 plus.
Maybe it wasn't 14, it was like 12.
Yeah, it was high. I know that. But I just remember, like, I said something back, and I said, don't ever question if I can work out again or something like that. And you were like, it was a joke. And I'm like, it was my motivation.
Now I'm like careful with my words.
Yeah. But that's how I am. But even in saying that, that impressed me that you were willing to, on a day like that. And I'm pretty sure my body language, once I paired us together, you knew I was going to go pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I told you.
Yeah,
I was like,
you did.
I was like, get ready.
And you were like, everyone, when you were asking, what do you want to do? It has to be hard for short people.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool.
Yeah. But even just the way you handled that, like you had that, I don't know that I want to call it a scowl, but you had this look on your face like, motherfucker, I ain't backing down.
Yeah.
You might get me, but I'm here for it. And I was like, I didn't want to make you quit, but I want to make it like see what you were made of. And you stepped up. You were like, you could tell you were in pain. But you were like, okay. And I think that was, again, a turning point where you were like, okay.
Yeah,
I
think
I can push harder than I want to.
as I progressed, I've seen what I've been capable of, and it pushes me even more,
Yeah. It becomes an obsession almost.
Yeah,
It
it
becomes
does.
like, oh, I can hit 5 toe to bar.
Now I want 10.
Yeah, and now I want 10. Or better yet, you and Morgan just did a workout together where you were doing 4s each time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it turning in both of your heads. Like right now it's 4s to get to 16, and I'm going 4, Morgan's going 4, I'm going 4, Morgan's going 4. Next time we fucking do this, it's going to be 8s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It becomes that obsession to get just a little bit better each time.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But anyway, so you decide you're going to compete. Ashley, I remember Ashley texted me. She's like, what do you think of me and Celina as a partner? I'm like, I think that's a good team. I think that was, you guys complemented each other well.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you guys signed up. But
So then once I decided that I was going to compete, that's when I really was like, okay. And it was around the time that we were doing the next challenge also.
which I did those pretty fucking quick back to back because of, I did an in-between one.
Yeah, and
that you did not do. And that one ended on like Saturday, and First Form had announced theirs that started on Monday. And I was like, guess what, y'all? No rest for the wicked. We're jumping in on this First Form one. It was my first one as a, I'm not going to name what we are, but working with First Form. And I was like, guys, we're gonna do this.
And I think that's when the transformation really started, because I knew, okay, so I had all those months to kind of like just learn everything. Yeah. And then, okay, now I'm going to compete. Well, now I have to like get stronger, quicker, get everything down basically, because I didn't want to look like an idiot. So then there was that. And then once we started doing the challenge, at first, I don't know if you remember, I wasn't going to do it. And you were like, why wouldn't you do it? And I just felt like
I don't remember this at all,
Yeah.
'cause I usually don't pressure people. But
well, you weren't pressuring me. You just asked me like why I wouldn't do it, and like because it was based on nutrition.
Was it just out of the blue, or were we having a
I
conversation?
was asking you about it.
Okay.
Like,
All
what
right.
is the next challenge? Like,
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
you know,
gotcha.
because I said I don't know if I can commit to like the accountability meetings and on the weekends because of the summer. I don't know, and if what is this gonna entail? So just that, and I was like, I don't know, and you were like, just it's gonna help you. And then there was this app, and I'm so glad I did it because that's when I really got like buckled down on nutrition, and that's when I really started seeing the changes.
That app is life altering. I know I've said it on several podcasts before, but that upped my game as a nutrition coach. It upped my game as a trainer, and it basically elevated the entire gym because I'm like, okay. It gave me knowledge and access to so many elite level trainers that I'm like, okay, now I have. Not that I learned anything different. It was all shit that I knew. It was just, it was that confirmation. It was that reassurance that, hey, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then it gave me a platform to just send daily announcements with a video, and everybody gets them. And then I really started utilizing our Facebook group, and I just, the way that it all blended together really made the gym step up. So much more. You had Morgan fucking kills it in hers.
Morgan, oh my gosh, she freaking crushed that challenge.
Yeah, she
looks so good.
I bet you had you taken before and afters in the app, you would have been up in there that top 2 or 3 as well. Even though you didn't lose as much weight, your physical transformation, nobody was talking. When you first started, nobody was like, damn, Celina, why you got to show off your quads like that? Then by the end of the competition, everybody's talking about your legs or, whatever it may be. So,
yeah, definitely. I did take some for myself.
I know you did for yourself, and I have seen them since then. But that's why I say you're not giving yourself as much credit for your own transformation. Not to take anything away from Morgan, but you had your own pretty badass transformation. And what was more impressive for me was your mental transformation. Like, you've always been a happy-go-lucky, like, laugh, smile. But the way you attack workouts and the way you actually seemed like you came in with a game plan. Now, it wasn't just working out. It was coming in with a plan or purpose so that you came out of it better.
Yep.
And that's something that's so hard to teach people because people are like, it's just fucking working out. Why you got to get good at that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because at some point, if you do this, you have those moments. One of the best compliments Morgan and I got, I don't even think Morgan realizes, where people are like, how the fuck were you guys so calm in between workouts? Like, you guys were talking, you're laughing, and everybody else is on the ground laying around dying, and it's like, because it's a mindset, and we had work to do. We weren't there to just sit there and be like, oh my God, I'm dying. What's going to happen on the next one? No, motherfucker, we were preparing for the next workout.
Yeah.
And that was what was awesome is if you look at JG3 teams, all of us did that. We all were ready for the next workout because we prepared to do
I think we all did
workouts.
very well.
Yeah, 100%. But that's how we train people. Saturdays, what are Saturday workouts?
Yeah.
We do roughly a 10-minute workout, 3-minute rest, times 3. We
And
added one more.
I just want to say this really quickly. My first Saturday workout, I was like, holy shit, watching everybody like moving around so quick, and I could hardly breathe, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And it's so ironic that Ashley was my partner
For the first Saturday workout?
for my first Saturday
shit.
workout, and then
I
we
did
did
not
our
know
first
that.
competition
That's
together.
awesome.
And
That's
I
very
remember, like, she was like showing me box jumps, and I just actually did step ups because I'm like, what the? I can't believe people are doing this, But and just like the progression, like with the rope. You've seen me try like the first time. Same with toes to bar. I didn't
You
know.
just posted that video not too long ago of your progression, and I remember it's always funny to me when people are like, oh my gosh, I got this goal to do X, whatever it is. And I tell them how quickly it'll happen, and everybody looks at me like I'm a fucking alien. They're like, no, did you just see what I just tried? And you're telling me I'm going to get it in under a month? And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. If you just listen, yeah, 100% you'll get it.
Well,
We should fucking note when I told you were going to get a bar muscle up, because you're pretty close to 5 strict pull-ups.
Well, what's funny is, it's only been a couple weeks since you said, at the end of each workout, you should try working on your strict pull-ups.
Yep.
So that's what I've been doing, and I was started off with only 3, and now I'm at like 4.999. It's like, I just gotta get out there. I can't do it though.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm not able to.
Yeah, we're about to be the first podcast to show you doing fucking burpees in the middle of this shit. But yeah, so let's talk about the competition. So you guys sign up. The workouts. Did you guys test the workouts at all? I don't even know.
We did. We practiced a few times. Not a few times each one, but just like each one we did probably like once or something.
Yeah. What was your biggest concern going into a competition? Did you have any concerns? Did you have the butterflies? Did you have...
I was like, I have been working hard. I have been running. I have been eating right. The week before, I was really strict about my nutrition. I was drinking lots of water.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've done everything that I can, and I'm just thinking of it as another workout that I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
I was trying to stay steady, like with my pace, and not like go
get sucked into the competition.
And go too hard. But honestly, I didn't even see anybody else. Like, I was in my own lane, in my own zone. So, but no, I was just, like, fine with it. I wasn't really nervous at all.
That's good. I still get, I don't want to say it's nervous. I get this anxious energy, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a fucking bobcat in a cage and someone's about to let me out, and I'm like, just let me out, just let me go. But this one was a lot different. This was the first one, and that's why it's funny I keep joking about being retired, but this was the first one probably since Ironman that I felt like myself. So it's been 3 solid years.
You were looking strong.
Since I felt like myself. And I still, all things considered, for those that actually watch me here, I still didn't do a lot of the workouts. Like, I still only pretty much do this Tuesday, Thursday, and maybe one other day a week. So that was still only 3 days a week of trying. But I also knew, and this is a huge shout of respect to Morgan, but I also knew, hey, no disrespect to past teammates, but I knew Morgan was going to bring it.
Yeah.
And I knew... I jokingly say this all the time, but I know the amount of eyes that are on me and wanting to watch me fail. So that's why I took the one in April so hard, because I was so sick that everybody, you could hear the snickers of, oh yeah, look, he fell off. And that drives me crazy. So when I stepped onto the floor this time, I had more of that
confidence.
And then it was rope climbs, and I'm going, I don't know.
And we were rooting for you.
Yeah, this sounds so cocky, but I don't know how many people in Ohio are better at rope climbs than I am. It's just one of those things that's always clicked for me. And I went way too fucking hard on that workout, because after I looked around and I kind of got that nervous energy going, and I'm like, I'm about to just fucking go full send on this one. And Morgan felt it, unfortunately. Morgan, I think, had a little adrenaline dump after the first one, but it was so nice to finally feel that way. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have any, like, even anticipation about it, or you just weren't nervous?
No. I was, like, trying not to think about it. I know Megan was like, are you nervous? Are you nervous? And I think that, like, that was almost making me a little bit nervous. Yeah. But, I mean, I just kept saying, no, I'm just thinking of it as another workout. And I kept telling myself that, you know.
Well, it's always easier when you know you put the work in.
Right.
And again, that's why I think the ones that I've struggled with, particularly the one back in April, I was not prepared. Right. That's why I was more nervous, and I knew I was sick. Mm-hmm. I knew I had a whole bunch of issues, so it's real hard to go into something already knowing you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, I'm going, fuck, I've dealt with 69 days of fucking 75 hard. I'm mentally as strong as I've ever been. Physically, I didn't feel that great that day, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the first workout, how it went for you. The first workout, I think I was running back and forth between you guys, and Carrie and Lex were on the complete other side of the gym. I don't think I stayed by you guys until your running workout.
I think we actually got third in the first workout.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
I know I've made this joke offline, but the funniest part of watching you compete for me was watching Travis's little fucking man boner watching his wife fucking crush it. Hey, if he had on a Cleveland Browns jersey, it would have been fucking amazing.
He knows how hard I've been working
But
though.
yeah, no, and I mean, I'm saying that facetiously, but he looked so fucking proud, and that was really cool for me to sit there and see the significant others, the Stevens of the world, even Ashley's husband showing up, Carrie's sister showing up, all these supporting people, Angelina showing up for you, and just how proud they looked of you. That's one of those things it seems so minor because they're the people closest to you, and you expect them to do that. But from the outside looking in, you're like, God, that's fucking cool. Debbie had told me she wasn't coming because of all the other bullshit we had going on, all these other gyms and all this other stuff. But when she walked in, I was literally borderline having a fucking panic attack. I was getting real fucking nervous, and I see my wife and kids, and I'm like, nothing else in the fucking world matters right now. And that support makes it real easy to fail. If you do fail, who the fuck cares? The people you love the most are there. They're going to hug you. They're going to kiss you. They're going to tell you everything's okay.
Right.
So it makes it a little easier to try.
Yeah.
It makes it a little easier to go. Even if I fucking fail, who cares?
Yeah.
Does it really matter in the grand scheme of it? Nobody wants to. Make no mistake about it. You want to bring it, but it makes it a little bit easier. So I remember the second workout, you guys fucking crushed that one. I remember, because I did watch the team in front of you, and I was going, ooh, this ain't good. This team is really struggling with the fourth workout, and you guys were just machines on the running and then the devil's presses. And then the first one I really, really remember, though, is you were struggling with the what weight to use for the skier and front squat one.
Yeah.
And we had a little disagreement about that, and I think you went the safe route, which is probably the best idea. But again, my job's to try and make sure whatever you pick is the right decision for you.
I did go the safe route, and that was because after skiing, I felt like, and after the 35-pound dumbbells, when in the second workout, I was like, my arms might be shot. So I was trying to like think safe. But then when I was done with the ski and I went and pulled that first.
And didn't you almost hit yourself in the face with it?
I pulled so hard because I thought it was going to be heavier. And I like pulled it up, it would fly, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I got it under control after that. So my squat clean got better after that, but at first I'm like, oh my gosh, it was a lot lighter than I had anticipated. Yeah. So, but again, I was being safe, and it was my first competition.
Yeah,
and
no, you made the right call. Again, I was just trying to make sure you you made the best decision for yourself at that time, because even after the fact, I told Morgan this when we did our podcast together, I should have went about 40, 50 pounds heavier than I did. My right knee was super fucked up going into that. Just all the running we did from 75 hard, or I did from 75 hard. My right knee was really swollen that day, and I was struggling warming up to break parallel. So I'm like, I'm going to play it safe.
Yeah.
So I dropped from where I had intended to be, and then adrenaline kicked in, and I don't think anybody that watched that would say what I was doing looked hard. So I was like, I fucked up. But at that point, the workout, I didn't care.
Yeah. You guys were so fun to watch.
I'm glad it was fun to watch. 'Cause it was not. Although, to be honest with you, that was probably one of the more enjoyable competitions I've done. As I was at a lot of ease. And I think, again, being so sick the last one I did, to go to this one and have everything kind of go right. My stomach was feeling okay. No real issues there. My body outside of the right knee, and even once I got going, that I couldn't even use that as an excuse. I performed fine.
Yeah.
But for the wife and kids to show up, it was like,
that was such a good day.
I was at such peace, and then I fully expected Morgan to hit a bar muscle up. But in hindsight, I told her this on the podcast.
She's gonna get it.
She's going to, but it was probably better for her not to get it.
Because it makes her want it that much more.
Well, and she got a better reaction from everybody. And we had a bigger moment not doing it, as weird as that sounds. And then we all went to eat. And it
Yeah.
was, it kind of sucked being the one guy that had to follow his diet after that because everybody's
Oh my gosh, we like smashed,
You guys-
drank beer.
You guys smashed some shit. I'm going, fuck, why can this be 7 days later?
Oh my gosh, I was so hungry.
And you guys really, the third and fourth workout. The fourth workout's when you really started to struggle a
Yeah.
little bit.
I think,
When did me and you have our conversation? We didn't have a conversation. I just kind of stood next to you.
Yeah, you were kind of like yelling to the side a little bit, like to push me, and then you came over,
Yeah.
and you were just like, come on, like pull you.
I don't remember what I saw in your body language, but it looked
Like I was dying, probably.
well. Yes, I was trying to be polite, but
I felt really weak.
yeah,
I felt really
you
weak.
looked like you were struggling. So I went, all right, I'm gonna
But-
make sure she can hear me.
But you know what is so crazy? I did not know where the clock was. So through the whole thing, it wasn't until I was directly in front of the clock that I seen the clock. So, when I was watching you guys and
Yeah.
Morgan and
Yeah.
or Colin and Megan. But so if I had known, I think I'm not sure if it would have helped or not. But I had no idea where I was on time, like through that whole thing.
Yeah.
I never looked at it because I didn't know it was there. So I'm like, because I would have probably maybe like been like, okay, I'm almost there, but whatever.
Yeah, but you pulled it together pretty good. You went from having a very
Yeah.
negative body language to back to
Yeah.
kicking ass.
I had
So
to
that's-
refocus.
That was good, but it's the power of someone just pointing out, hey, all you gotta do is breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in a heightened state. You're in a elevated heart rate. You're in the moment, and
Yeah.
I'm not. So it's
Yeah.
easy as a coach to come over and be like, all I had to say
And
was
I
one
was
little thing.
thankful for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got to 90, was it calories? And then, but I was on like 84 and we had so many seconds. You're like, come on, get to 90.
Yeah.
And I was really trying to get there.
Yeah.
So I just needed that little extra push.
Yeah, and,
So.
and it's hard to get there sometimes when it's just when you're in your own head. Even though it's a partner workout, you need that challenge. And the one thing that a lot of us share in common here at JG3 is we're all sick and twisted in a certain way that the pain, it's bad, but that's when we really turn it on. Is if someone challenges us during that painful moment, we're all a little twisted to where we push into the challenge instead of shutting down. Where a lot of people shut down, we're like, oh, motherfucker, you want to talk now?
Yeah.
I'm already in it, so I might as well push a little harder. And it does lead to some pretty sore and painful time, but it's always nice to see someone do that.
Yeah, and I think with having Ashley as a partner, like it's one thing if you let yourself down, but you don't want to let your partner down, and we had been working for, doing extra stuff and trying to prepare. So I was really trying to like show up.
There's always something about partner workouts or competitions where you feel like I'm letting this person down, and you don't want to let the person down
Right.
at all. And it's like, even though you're not really ever going to let them down, because just taking the floor with them is a huge step.
Yeah.
And I think I hate to keep circling back to that April competition, but that's why I took that so hard, is I felt like I let Colin and Dylan down. I was the veteran of the group. I'm the gym owner. I'm the head coach. And I was miserable, and I didn't perform the way I did, so I felt like I drug them down a little bit instead of lifting them up like I should. And they may argue that that's all bullshit, but that's how I felt in the moment.
But that's what you needed.
Yeah.
And
in the grand scheme of things, I
Because-
needed that failure to wake up the beast inside, because I would have never went to the doctor and actually addressed my shit had I not been so fucking embarrassed from that. And even though I joke about being retired time and time again, I've texted Colin and told him I owe you a competition. And at some point,
you can't resign.
well, yeah, I'm learning. Apparently there's this new thing, and I think you're the one that started this, that said, once I get, and I don't even remember what the fuck we were talking about, I had to compete with you. And I'm like, that's not going to become a thing in the gym.
It is.
But apparently it's going to become a thing in the gym. Because Carrie, my sister, just said that the other day. She's like, we're going to be partners once I can hit RX. I'm like, I can scale, right? And which is complete bullshit. Most of the gym owners know me, and if my name shows up scaled, they'll probably make fun of it or totally stop us from doing it. Because that's how Scott ended up doing RX with me at snowball games, because Kim Williams is like, there's no way I'm letting you do scaled. I've seen you work out. And I'm like, but I'm not that guy anymore. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's, and that is, it's flattering, but it's frustrating at the same time. It's like, so I'm stuck at this level.
Yeah.
Always. Which is fine. I don't give a fuck. That's good for me. I need to be held to a standard, but, yeah, I feel like, and I'm sure you feel the same way, even though you did good at that one, you feel like, oh, now I know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I'm going to...
I mean, I felt like I did good, but I'm like, could have, like, pushed a little bit more. Like, now I know,
What was your whoop strain for the competition, by the way?
It was, like, 14 something.
See, that's how you can tell the difference between competition and training. Mine was 13.8 that day.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely brought the intensity more than I would have. And I think anybody that's watched me work out over the last year, within the first minute of those rope climbs, I think even Colin told me afterwards, he's like, dude, when you said you were good at rope climbs, like, I was not expecting you to go out that fucking hot. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I told you it was going to happen. But the intensity piece made it hurt a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was supposed to do dumb shit Sunday that night, and I begged Debbie not to make me work out.
I only participated in one of those.
Yeah, and it was horrible, wasn't it? It was fucking horrible.
Why did I even do this?
Yeah, it was that's what people don't realize is when I say I'm doing something, I typically do it. And if you think about it, that day, even Trey and Chris were like, oh yeah, we're going to use the light sandbag. I used an 80-pound sandbag for that whole hill sprint workout. Like,
yeah,
it's pretty crazy. I did burpees or push-ups or some shit the entire fucking time of that workout, and people were like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, it's just in my head. I said I was going to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it. And it's great to be that way, but it also fucking hurts pretty bad to be that way sometimes. Sometimes I wish I could just go, fuck it, I'm gonna sandbag this. But anyway, that's getting off subject. But don't worry, Dumb Shit Sunday is staying, so you will have plenty of opportunities to continue that. And I do believe part of what makes me a good competitor, if that's what you want to say, is I do a lot of really weird shit.
Yeah.
And I do it pretty intense for a long period of time. And I'm used to, there's this sick part of me that sees when my training partners, even though I'm rooting for their success, so don't take this the wrong way, but when I see someone have to drop to a lighter sandbag, it gives me this twisted sense of, no, I want to go up.
Yeah.
And that's why Colin's dangerous for me, because one of the dumb shit Sundays he did with me, we started talking shit to each other. We started like a 115 clean and jerk. By the end of it, we were like 175. Because it's like, neither of us are backing down. He's like, I'm going to put weight on that bar. I'm like, bitch, I'm putting weight on that bar. And next thing you know, we're just talking shit back and forth. And Chris is over here.
He's so competitive. I love how him and Megan are so competitive.
They're great people. Again, some of these new people, yourself, Meg, Colin, some of our OGs, Carrie, Ashley, Morgan, Steven, they brought me out of this funk. Like I said, that was probably the first time earlier on this podcast, if I don't edit it out, that I've admitted how close I came to just shutting this bitch down or selling it, and you guys drug me out of that.
And I'm so glad because that didn't happen, because I would not be anywhere, like, mentally, physically, like I wouldn't be here today if it would have happened. So
yeah, it was a combination. It's like, you know how many people sent me Andy Frisella's podcast since he started it in 2016, and would be like, dude, this would be you if you had a fucking podcast. It was called the Motherfucking CEO Podcast. Was the name of his podcast. It's now Real as Fuck. But people would send me this and be like, dude, you got to look this guy up. He's if you were famous, this would be you. And I'm like, fuck that guy. I don't even know who the fuck he is. Respectfully, I do know who he is now, and he's a great dude. So I don't actually mean fuck that guy. But when people would send that to me, I'm like, I don't want to be the next Andy Frisella. I want to be the first fucking me.
Right.
I just don't want to do that. Well, here we go. Flash forward 2021. And I find out he's the fucking owner of First Form. And I'm like, you know what? In 2016, had I fucking done the research, I probably would have been with First Form then instead of 5 years later. And that company has changed my life.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, everything happens when it should.
Yes.
Because I think about, had I joined years ago when I went on Front Street and I seen you guys working out, I wasn't in the same place in my life as I am now. Mm-hmm. It probably wouldn't have lasted. Yep. You know, I think, you know, you asked me about, like, what led me to join the challenge, but prior to that, I was in that workout slump. I had COVID in December. Mm-hmm. I had been trying to be consistent with my workouts, you know, mm-hmm. being a member at the time at the Y, but consistent then was like 3 days a week, and I was good with it. Yeah. But so I hadn't worked out since December 16th was when I tested positive for COVID, and then by the time I even had any energy was like at the beginning of January, and then the first few times I went to the gym I was so winded, mm-hmm. and so I didn't work out like January, February. I was like on a downward spiral. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I cannot let myself go like this. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it was almost like depressing, you know. So, and then, you know, everything happens the way it's supposed to.
Well, and then think about this. It's funny talking to you about this now. You came in at one of the lowest points in my life, gym-wise. Mm-hmm. And I found a way to motivate you when I was down there.
Yeah.
And I think you'd even say, most new people have said they've seen, as I've got healthier, they're like, holy fuck, this dude's like, you do dumb shit Sunday, and I think you're like, okay, I ain't gonna fuck with him on how little he works out anymore, because this dude is not who I used to be.
But the odd thing about that is I always thought you were motivated. Yeah. So you say that you didn't feel motivated, no. But since I've started, I've always thought, like, gosh, she's so motivated.
I think the difference that a lot of people miss, and I tell all of my clients this, motivation's bullshit. It's discipline. Mm-hmm. Had nothing to do with motivation.
Yeah.
The reason I was still pretty fucking fit is I'm disciplined. I don't know how not to show up. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm gonna take today off. It'll be my second day off this week. I came off of 75 hard. I did 80 some days in a row, because I was talking to Dylan about this. I started 75 hard on what would have been my first rest day in a week. So I actually did 75 days of that in a row, 2 workouts a day, on what would have been plus 6 days on top of that. And it's just, I have this uncanny ability to just do, like, I'm a routine guy. Like,
yeah.
It really pisses, like, Debbie will tell you, I get, when people cancel on me to work out, or people cancel on me for what, I take that shit so personal, because I'm like, you don't understand, like,
right.
My day is so fucking busy. For me to fit the reschedule in, it might be 2-3 weeks from now. Mm-hmm. And I had a fucking headache before we started this. I almost canceled on you, and I'm going, oh, hold on a second. If I'm going to give people shit when I cancel, or when they cancel on me, I better fucking show up. And that's what.
Do you still have a headache?
No, which is good. And right now, I'm telling you, I don't want to get on this soapbox, but the world is so fucked up. You have a headache for a couple days in a row, and you literally start going, should I go get tested for COVID?
Right.
Like, it's a fucking headache.
Yeah.
I get headaches. I got bad fucking vision. I'm on a computer all the time. I probably just stared at my screen a little too long. But the world's like, oh my God, it could be COVID. And I'm like, if this is COVID, like, the fuck are you guys bitching about? But at the same time, I don't want to say that, because there are people that experience it differently. But that's how I'm thinking. I'm like, babe, if this is really COVID, like, why would I go get tested? It's a fucking headache. It went away. But yeah, it's strictly discipline. It's showing up. It's doing what you say you're going to do. And that's, again, I hate to go back to what First Form has reinforced. It's like, just run the plays. Mm-hmm. You want to be good at this shit, run the fucking play. Here's your playbook.
Yeah.
That's what I do for you guys as a coach. Here's your fucking playbook. You show up, you do the workout on the board, you ask questions. If you want a little bit more, I can guide you in the right. If you give me your goal, I will fucking give you the plan to get there. And trust me, I've got 50 people I've taught how to do their first bar muscle up, 30 people I've taught how to do their first ring muscle up. I've taken people that have never swam to do an Ironman. I've taken people who don't work out to do obstacle course races. I've done it all.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm now in martial arts because I was like, oh, there's a hole in my game. I don't know this shit. I'm gonna go learn it. That's just who I am. But that's all it is. It's just show up. And guess what? I would venture to guess, you can correct me if you're wrong, almost 70% of the time, I don't want to fucking do it. I show up to the gym and I'm like, I don't really feel like doing it today. But if I don't, I'm going to feel like shit. So I do it anyway.
Consistency, man.
Consistency, that's all it is. How often are you actually motivated and ready to come in here and kill it?
Not very often.
Not very often.
No.
And usually the days you are, you have the worst workout.
Right. And the days that you don't want to come, you like hit PRs.
Yes. It's insane how it works. And you're just like.
And then you're like, oh, I'm so glad I came.
Yeah. But that's why I say motivation's bullshit. So for you to say, oh, he's one of the most motivated people when I was at a low spot in my life, like imagine had I gave up on my discipline, how fucking sick I would have been.
Yeah.
The difference that a lot of people didn't see is I was getting to the point of depression, and my anxiety was kicking up, so my diet fell off. That's why I was really struggling. Is I was starting to drink a lot more, which is always dangerous for me. I was just in a spot where the only thing I had not considered was going back to pain pills because I don't ever want to open that door again. But it really was just, I was in such a bad mental spot that physically it was dragging me down. So to snap out of it has been a blessing. And even in saying that, I still have episodes once in a while, and I think that's just my life now.
Yeah.
And I'll figure it out. But it's discipline.
Yeah.
It's everything here. It's showing up. It's hitting your calories, hitting your protein. Realizing carbs aren't the end of the world.
That app is so crazy because I've never counted macros in my entire life.
Yep.
And having everything there and being able to log it and scan the barcodes is so amazing and helpful. And that's when I really, so I already was experiencing those changes, with getting stronger. But once I started the diet part, not a diet, nutrition.
Yeah.
That's when I was really seeing the changes.
Yeah.
So,
and
that app is what helped me.
It's everything. And you talk about timing, but you weren't even going to do it. And just one small conversation changed everything for you.
Yeah, and you, like you said, you don't remember, but I do because I was going back and forth. I'm like, do I? Because I just didn't want to commit to it.
I remember having a conversation. I don't remember the details.
Yeah. Well, I was just more so I don't want to say I'm doing this challenge and then not show up. Not go to the accountability meetings. Not do, so that's where I was like, well, what is this about? And then you explained it and I'm like, okay. And again, it was right around the time that we had talked about doing the competition. So it all kind of fell into place. And so that's why I felt decent going into the competition because I was already making changes. So
that's awesome. A fucking airplane or something is flying. That is so loud. I don't know how loud that's going to be on the thing, but holy shit! You don't hear that every day in Fremont, Ohio. What the? It sounds like a flyby.
What is going on out there?
Are they doing a flyby for a football game or something?
I don't know.
They wouldn't do that for a high school game, but anyway. Last thing I'm going to ask, it's something I ask everybody. I'm going to withhold today because I don't know that my brain's working enough to say another positive habit. But it can be a book you read, journaling. I don't think you need to point out the app anymore. I think we drove that point home. But what positive things made it? What's the most positive thing that you could recommend to someone if you're going or considering to going on this journey? you went from the old Celina,
Yeah.
right, to who you are now, and there's this bumpy road of ups and downs from there to where you are now, and it's gonna continue, right? We're not fucking done with this shit.
Right.
What's the number one thing that you would recommend to someone if they're getting ready to start? It's a heavy question.
It is. And like I've said before, I don't read a lot of like motivational books. It's more like hopeless romantic. So
It's
I
lady porn
mean,
books.
yeah, I don't know. But so I would say if you're getting ready to start, just keep showing up, because it's hard in the beginning and you're going to feel like you're never going to get there. But if you keep showing up, it'll happen. And it'll take time, but that's the only thing that I would say is that you just got to be consistent and show up, because the changes happen. But
That's life right there.
Yeah.
I used to tell people, and I think I said this during the Eyes Forward, I've got a lot better at my percentages, but if you just show up 75% of the time, you're going to have results. If you eat clean 75% of the time, if you come close to your macros 75% of the time, your life's going to be dramatically different. Because if you start week 1 at 75%, you're going to get better.
yeah,
So it might bump to 80, 85. And I'm not saying you'll be there the whole time. I would tell you it shocked me for 75 days how good my diet was. Like,
Yeah.
I came really fucking close on everything every single time.
your before and afters were crazy.
Imagine if my stomach actually processed food the way it was supposed to. But yeah, if you just give me 75% of the time, and I think I just said that in my announcement on the app today, is, hey, we're not in a challenge right now, just give me 75%.
Yeah.
And that could mean if you normally drink a gallon of water, drink 100 ounces. It could mean if you normally work out 6 days a week, give me fucking 3 or 4. It could be if you hit your macros 7 days a week, give me fucking 4. Give me 5. Just give me a little bit.
Yep.
And then when you're ready to rein it back in and get after it, it's going to be a lot easier to add that last 25% than it is to start from scratch.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep showing up.
Yep. That's all I can say.
That's it. You got anything you want to shout out?
Shout out to everyone at the gym for pushing me and helping me on this journey. It's been pretty incredible, and that's about it. I don't know.
That's awesome. If you like the show, I keep forgetting to say this. I don't know what fucking episode we're on, but if you like the show, share it with somebody. Leave a comment, review. I'd appreciate it. But this has been The Road to Optimal Self with Celina and Jay. Boom.